Hello everyone, welcome back on our Python journey. This is the 3 on this journey, and so far we've done a couple of things. So if you've not watched those 2 days videos, you should go back and watch them and then join us on day 3. So what I'll be doing next is leaving a timestamp for you guys a premiere of the next video for you guys to know what to study ahead, and then that will make it easier for you to understand what I'll be explaining in the video once the video is ready to be watched. All right, so we are going to have a practical study of what we learned yesterday, which was on the data types and variables. Now I arranged these topics in a certain way. So each one you see indented under the preceding topic is just a sub or a child of that one. So yeah, I'll be switching to between these 2 tabs, to reference the next topic on our list. All right. Today we are going to cover data types and variables. And if you remember, in the beginning, we did something like this. We learned how to print stuff in the terminal by typing print followed by these two, parentheses here. And then we can put in a value. So I explained that we can't put, when we are typing characters like, letters, especially letters, we can't put them without a quotation mark. Can be a single quotation mark or a double quotation mark. So if you want to type hello world, for instance, which is like the convention for beginners in programming, so you just type the hello world in the print function and then press on this green button here to run the code. Now you can see hello world is printed in the terminal. Now we can also print, numbers, right? So we can do like 340. I don't know why I chose 340. Yeah, so 340 gets printed in the console. Now we can perform arithmetic operations like 3 plus 7, which will give us 10. Just pay attention to the console and the code gets run as well in the console. You can also, there's a shortcut to run your code. You can press Shift and F10, and you can see the code is showing in the console now. Now, these 3 and 7 are values, right? And the other string that we also saw, all of them together are values, and values have to belong to a certain data type in programming, basically in general, but we are talking about Python here. So we have different data types in Python. We have the numeric data type, we have the sequence data type, we have the mapping data type, we have sets, we have Boolean, and we have the NoneTypes. Now, the first one here is the numeric data types. So numeric data types are basically numbers, right? And which generally in mathematics we know what numbers are. So from 0 to 10, or any negative number as well, is also a number, right? So if we print, I'll just use the shortcut Shift F10. If we use that and if we print these 3, it shows in the console. But how do we know it is actually a number? Now, to do that, there's a function that was built into Python 2 that allows us to check the type of a value, right? And functions are basically, let's say, methods, or, we'll look at functions later on. But Yeah, so to check which data type a particular value belongs to, you just print, let me print it again and just type, right? With the two parentheses and then put in your value here like this. We are checking for 3. Let me just leave 3 there. And then when I, run this code in our console or in our terminal, you can see class int is being printed in the, in the terminal here. Now, everything in Python is a class, right? Or belongs to a certain class, but we are not going to look at what classes are for in this video, especially as we are learning step by step. But I want you guys to focus on what is in the quotation mark. Now we can see int here. Now int means integer, right? So integers in Python are any numbers that don't have decimal places. So you can have numbers from -1, if I run this code again, you see it's still pretty int. And so let me quickly remove that. But numbers that have, decimal places like 0, let me put 1.0 for instance, and I run this code in the terminal. Now you can see float is being printed in the terminal. Now we have two types of numeric types in Python, right? We have the float type and we have the integer type. So to check them, you simply, print in the console with type here. Just type and then followed by the parenthesis and then put in the value inside the type parenthesis. Yeah. All right. The second one on our list here is the sequence type. Now, sequence types are strings, lists, and tuples. Now, before I move to those types, I want to quickly show you guys what variables are. So variables are like a box, right? In which we store stuff. So to create a variable in Python, you simply type the name of the variable you want to have, right? In which you want to store something. Now, the name of your variable is not something, it's very optional. Yes. So you can choose to give your variable any name. Let's say you can choose to call your variable my first variable like this. And now after creating the variable, you have to put something inside. To put something inside, we use this equal sign, and this equal sign is known as the assignment operator. So the assignment operator helps you assign a value to your variable or put a value inside your variable. So my first variable, I can just give it a value of 3, and 3, we know that 3 belongs to the um, numbers data type or the integer data type. So to check the data type that's the value of our variable belongs to, we simply print again, just print type and then put in the value of our variable name here, right? You do this and you run the code, you can see our terminal has changed back to int. If we change this to 3.0 and run the code again like this, you can see it is changed back to float. Now, I want to, however, you can see, if you notice very well, I wrote my variable in a certain way. So there are some rules in place that we must follow to create variables or name our variables. So this, for instance, is known as the camel case um, method, right? So so the first letter of the variable name must be in a lowercase, right? And every subsequent first letter of the following word uh, must be in a capital letter. Now, this way of naming your variable is also optional, right? You can decide to write all your variable in small letters, which will not harm your program in any way. But yeah, it might come a time where you are working with some people and they will decide you guys use a certain way of naming your variables. There is another type like this. So you separate each word with an underscore, and with this you can still read my first variable, and then our code editor is telling us that this variable does not exist. All right. So when we run this code now, you can see the value or the type of this variable is still, being printed in the console. So you can change it however you like. So just know that you cannot start your variable with a number. This will give you an error. You can see it's automatically highlighting it that there is an error. So you cannot start. You can see the error is showing here. It says you can't start invalid decimal literal. So it's a syntax error. That's the error we have here. So you can't start your variable with numbers. And let me just remove this. Now, because this is my first variable, does not mean it's the same as this one here. Let me just change this like this. So these are two different variables. The way you created your first variable should be the same way you reference it. Otherwise, this is a completely different variable in this small program that we have in our editor here. All right, let me just go back to the correct variable again. All right, now we have our variable back, and then let's see if our error would disappear. Yes, our error is gone now. So the next data type on our list is the sequence type. So we have strings, lists, and tuples. They are the reason why I decided to jump into variables quickly. Begin using them with variables. All right, so to create a string in Python, you can either use a quotation mark like this or a double quotation mark like this. Now, there's another one called there's a triple quotation mark. So you have three quotation on the left and three quotation on the right. The reason why you would have something like this is to be able to, you know, type on multiple lines like this, right? So let's first of all look at the first one we have here, which is the single quotation mark. We have the single quotation mark like this. So you can put in any value here. You can even put like numbers, letters and so on. So what I'll do here is to just write hello world like this. So I'll just put hello world here. So when I print the type of this variable that has the hello world value, let's just see. Let me print it in the console. Now we can see that the type is str. Str is the short form of string. So this is a string. If I change this hello world to a double quotation mark hello world and I print it again, it's still a string. If I change it to a triple quotation mark like this, let me put this one here, 1, 2, and print it in the console or in the terminal. Sorry, I'll be using console and terminal interchangeably. they basically mean the same thing, at least to a certain level. Anyways, so we can see that string is still being printed in the terminal. Now, why? Okay, let me first of all look at the next one. The next one here is list. So this is how you create lists in Python. So you use two brackets. You have the first on the left and then the second bracket on the right. Then you can, lists are basically a collection of different data types. So they can contain both numbers and strings and even lists themselves, right? So you can have something like this, 5 in a list. And with list, you have to separate each values of the list with comma. So you put comma and then, let's put like hello world here like this. And then when we print the value, we can see that in our terminal, we have list as the value of or the data type of this first variable here. We can have tuples as well. So let me change this to tuples. Okay, let me put another list within this list so that you guys will understand that you can put list within list. Let me just run this. This will not cause any harm. You can still see that the value is still being printed in the terminal. Now, the next one is tuples. And tuples are like lists, but a much more strict form of list or compact form of list. So you can't change the values in a tuple, but you can change the values in a list after they have been created. So they are an immutable form of list. So this is how you create tuples. Let me just remove that value. You put your parenthesis there and then you just type in the value. So I'll just put 1, 2, and then maybe a string like this called hello world, and then another value here like this. Let me just put like 3. All right. So when we run this code, you can see that the value has changed to tuple, which is really nice. Now, I wanted to explain why I call this a sequence type, right? So the reason why these data types are called sequence type is because they have indexes. Indexes are basically the position of each element in a sequence, right? So, and computers start reading from zeros to the last number of to the last position in the particular collection. So, what a computer does is, let me just move this caret here. Right. So the first item here, which is this, I'm pointing to my screen. Sorry. The first item here, which is, um, you know, 1 can, so to retrieve that, so has a position 0 in this list, and then the second one has a position 1, and then this string here has a position 2, and the um item, the 3 here, the last one has a position of 3 in the list coincidentally. So they both have the same values. Anyways, but that doesn't mean that the value of this item here is going to be 3. So if we change this to 4, the position is still 3. It will remain 3. Now, let's put this to the test and see, how that would work. So I said 1 has a position of 0, right? So to get the value out of this tuple, what we'll do, let me just come here, right? Okay, let me just use the third item in our list here. The third item will have a position of what? Of 2. So like this. Now to access an item from a sequence, it could be either string or list. You just use the bracket sign in front of the variable name, or if we're printing this directly into the console, we just put the bracket in front of it and then pass in the value that we want to, the value of the index of the item we want to, you know, get from that particular list. So when I try to see the data type of the third item, which is at index number 2, from this list here, or this tuple, sorry, from this tuple, I will just pass in that value there and just print it. Now, as we expected, you can see the value here is str, which is string, right? Because hello world here is a string. The next item on our list is mapping types. So the mapping types are, let me just put it here. Okay, let me change this to the mapping types. The mapping types are a collection of, the value, key and value. So this is how they are presented in Python. So you have something like this. Let me say name, name, and then you have colon followed by the value of that particular one. So you just put in, let me just put my name here, Wilfred, and then mapping types are also called dictionaries, right? Sorry, I should have said that earlier. So they are called dictionaries. Dictionaries belong to the mapping data types. So, or they also have their own names, right? So these are known as dictionaries, the mapping types. And so this is how you create a dictionary, and you just separate. If you want to have more than, you know, let me just put name and then let me put first, or let me just put age like this. I'll put age there and give it a value of, let's say, 32. Now when I save this and then run this code here, okay, we have this error here because I'm trying to access the index of from a dictionary. So dictionaries don't have indexes; they only have keys, right? So to get a value out of the dictionary, you have to use the key. That's why they are called key value pairs. So let's print the type of this, dictionary here, or this variable, our first variable. When I print, you can see it has dict, which means dictionary. So yeah, so this data type is a dictionary data type, and it is used for mapping. So that's why I just called it mapping types. I should have just left it as dictionaries. But anyways, yeah. So to get a value out of let me just put another print here like this. So print my first variable, which is the dictionary, and then let's try to get the name here, or the age of the person. Let's just do age. So to get the age, you still put the brackets, in front of the variable, but this time around you don't pass in the number, you pass in the key. So to do that, just put age here, same string, right? You put the quotation mark around it, and then when we run this code now, we can see 32 is being printed in the terminal. The next one on our list here is sets. Now sets are a collection of unique values, right? So if we had something like this, so you also put sets in this bracket, in this curly braces like this, like the dictionary, but you don't have key value pairs in sets. So what you would do is you put one, let's use 1, 2, 3, and then let's type 3 more than once, and then just have like 4, 4, and then 6 like this. Again, they are separated by comma, and the result of this will give us a collection of unique values. So let's just remove this line of code now. Let me save that and print the type of this variable here. Now you can see set is printed in the console or in the terminal. Now to see the result of this set, let's just see the set in action. So I'll just print my first variable in the terminal. So when I print it, now you can see that all duplicates were removed from the list, right? From this collection here. So sets are collections of unique values. So it automatically remove the values from the duplicates from the list. And all of these data types, we'll look at them in detail, right? So we'll pick one and examine it, look at every other ways to understand them. That is dictionaries, right? We just did sets. Now the next one we have is Boolean. Now Boolean are true or false values. So straight away, if this is how you use them, just type true like this. If you check the type of this my variable here again, it has a value of true assigned to it. When you print in the console, you can see it has a value of bool or data type bool. If you change this to false, this same thing will be printed in the terminal. Last but not least, which are the non-types. Now, non-types, I forgot to put it here, are simply none. So you can set, your variables to have a value of none, and this none also belong to the non-types, data type in Python. So when I run this now, you can see the class or the data type of this variable here that has a value of none is non-type. All right, that's all for today. We've just seen these data types in action, right? And we also saw how to create variables as well. Thanks for watching. And again, I will try and upload a premiere of the next video ahead of the upload so that you guys will be able to study before watching these videos. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.